They're highly intelligent, very sensitive, and have complex emotions. Their lives, in fact, are very like our own. But make no mistake, this is a wild animal that can run you down.
I would consider a male elephant perhaps the most dangerous mammal in the world.
Once riled, these 5-ton giants are anything but gentle.
They pull the legs off, they pull the head off, and that is real rage.
And now they're gunning for us.
They're turning evil for a reason.
Strap in for India's #1 wildlife conflict.
This is not good. Well, this is not good at all.
In the northeast of India, villagers are making an extraordinary claim. They say that wild elephants are coming out of the forests to kill people. They believe these huge animals are deliberately stalking them like silent assassins. Premeditated or not, attacks by elephants are on the rise. Hundreds of villages are killed every year. Almost every day of the week, someone takes a hit.
We were just here, warming ourselves by the fire, guarding our crop.
Shuthit and his neighbour Haryar were worried that an elephant might come and eat their potatoes. They'd been up for several nights, on the lookout for a 5-ton thief. Crop raiding is nothing new. From the time that people first carved their farms out of the jungle, elephants have come looking for easy food. But on this night, it seems the intruder wasn't after a meal.
When the elephant appeared, all I saw were its white tusks. I spotted it first and ran this way. Harrier was behind me and went off that way. The elephant chased after him and he changed direction along this path. He ran for about 50 yards and that was the last I saw of him.
An elephant, if it chases you, over 30 or 40 yards can run faster than a racehorse. You'll never get away from it. It'll catch you.
At about 3 in the morning, a man came running in from the fields, calling for my husband's brother. I wasn't sleeping at all well, because I was worried about Harrier guarding the fields. I went to find out why they were calling for my brother-in-law, thinking that something must be wrong. There were also others people who knew what had happened. When I left the house to go to the fields, they prevented me so that I wouldn't see my husband's body.
Was Harriar just in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or was he in fact the target? The villagers are convinced that elephants are coming to get them. But why would a plant-eating animal set out to attack a human? What turns them mean? To find out, we're heading into the heart of a war zone with investigator Mark Shand. He's seen this problem growing for 15 years. The state of West Bengal in northeast India is now the most dangerous place on the planet for elephant attacks. The casualties are piling up, and the heavy armour is on the offensive.
It's the only animal I know that is big enough, intelligent enough to fight back. They're angry.
Why is there so much bad blood between man and beast? Our investigation takes us not just into wild West Bengal, but into the lives of captive elephants too. For thick-skinned giants, these animals seem surprisingly touchy. Upset them and they'll go berserk. The closer we look, the more surprises we find. Has the world gone mad? Or is it, as scientists believe, the elephant that can lose its mind? We know male elephants are pre-programmed by their hormones to become extremely aggressive.
So basically this is a mattress we've got here. What would happen here?
Is this why they're targeting people?
They are turning into killers.
Or is there more to this conflict than meets the eye? There is another, very different side to elephants, a more gentle one. Mothers and their offspring form the core of a close-knit mutual help society. Different elephant species have come and gone, but families much like this have roamed the earth for at least 40 million years, long before we stuck our noses in. In both African and Asian elephants, a single older female takes charge of the herd. She has the knowledge and experience to guide her group across hundreds of square miles with infallible precision. Elephants live for up to 70 years, so it pays to have brains that can learn and remember huge amounts of information. Not just about where to find food and water, but about other elephants too. For these are sociable animals that form lifelong friendships. They're also playful, and when they need to be, compassionate. Orphans are adopted by relatives, and the weak are helped by the strong. We can't be sure if elephants mourn, but they show an intense fascination for the bones of their dead. They gently touch and smell the carcass, seemingly reluctant to let go. Strong, intelligent, and sensitive. This is the bright side of elephants left in peace. But But humans soon found a way to unlock their dark side. Elephants have been part of human culture for at least 4,000 years. Long before Lord of the Rings, military commanders saw that elephants would have a terrifying effect on the battlefield. Trained for war, they became the tanks of their day. When he set out to attack Rome in 218 BC, the Carthaginian general Hannibal strengthened his army with a corps of 37 fighting elephants. Their job was to strike fear into the enemy's horses and infantry. For centuries, rulers in Asia kept vast legions of war elephants. Some were even trained to execute prisoners. They were also unleashed on each other. Heavyweight bouts were staged into the early 20th century. Though the angry elephants were just as likely to break off and charge the nearest human instead. But most of all, elephants were put to work. Thousands were employed in logging camps, hauling and stacking timber. Others earned their living in the fields as tractors. With the help of captive elephants, people have cut and ploughed most of India's forests into farmland. And as jungles turn to fields, wild elephants come looking for food where they are not welcome. More than anything else, it's the spread of human settlement that's now stoking up conflict between farmers and elephants.
It's a bit like a whole lot of kids outside a sweet shop. They see all this paddy being grown and things like that. I think, right, I'll have a bit of that. In they go, and you get the casualties.
By September, the paddy fields are ripening across North India, and in towns and villages in West Bengal, there's a growing sense of threat. For the next 3 to 4 months, villagers here will face an onslaught that they're powerless to stop. It's up to the government's wildlife squads to keep elephants out of the farmers' crops. Everyone grabs a rifle, just in case, but elephants are protected animals that aren't supposed to be shot. This is a rural town called Mal Bazaar, and for the local wildlife squad, it's turning into a typical night. Conservationist Mark Shand is a veteran of these frontline missions.
Just had a report of an elephant incident about 10 kilometers from here. I'm just on my way with the Mammal squad, one of these squads that operate the area here. This is a constant problem.
The root of the problem is access to food. Put simply, farmers here are fighting a lethal turf war with marauding elephants. It takes Mark and the Mammal squad about 20 minutes to reach the action. By the time they arrive, the ruckus has already kicked off. But there's a worrying trend here. According to Shand, elephants used to raid in small groups. Now they're coming in battalions, 100 strong.
When they come into raid, when they come into the paddy fields, you'll find a tusker at the front and you'll find a tusker at the back.
Large groups of elephants coordinate their manoeuvres, using low-frequency rumbles the villagers can't hear.
They can signal to one another. We don't hear it. It's subsonic, below our hearing. I think it's 8 to 10 kilometers that they can communicate with one another. They know exactly what is going on.
The elephants are in no hurry to back off. But eventually they decide they've had enough. In the chaos, it's no wonder people wind up getting trampled.
human-elephant conflict is getting worse every single year. I mean, the fatalities and casualties on both sides, both elephants and people, are being killed all the time, and the numbers are rising.
For the elephants, it's a tragedy. Their forests have been ripped out to plant tea and rice, and they're backed into a corner. Naturally, they have gigantic appetites. Around 400 pounds of food a day for an adult. It can take 15 hours to eat that much. A quicker way to fill up is to grab some paddy. Unlucky villagers might get trampled, but this is hardly deliberate killing. So far, so predictable. Except that here, nothing is quite what you'd expect. For a start, this is a war where the farmers are meant to love their enemy. In India, the elephant is a sacred animal, literally an object of worship. For at least 16 centuries, Hindus have revered an elephant-headed god called Ganesh. He's not just any old god, he's the most popular and widely worshipped of them all. For any enterprise to prosper, you must first seek his blessing. For Ganesh is the god of new beginnings. He's the remover of obstacles, the bringer of wealth. To a practicing Hindu, it's unthinkable to harm an elephant. They may be animals, but they're special. As a matter of prestige, wealthy temples like the Sri Krishna temple in Guruvayur like to keep their own elephants, in this case, around 60 of the largest and most pampered pachyderms in all India. The relationship between men and elephants here is a far cry from the killing fields of West Bengal. Surely this is not the place to look for clues about aggression. Or do even these well-groomed elephants have a dark side? A family-oriented creature needs a family. And each of these elephants has a small support team. They fill it up with 5-star fuel and give it a 3-hour valet every morning. The head keeper, or mahout, becomes a surrogate parent.
In domesticated elephants, the mahout becomes a family. Basically, it relies on that person. Their family is their mahout.
Caring for an elephant is all about building a relationship.
We try to win an elephant's trust by looking after it well, by caressing it and touching it with body contact. We need at least a year to get to know an elephant's character. We look after an elephant the way we look after a child. If it misbehaves, we whack it. If it behaves well, we give it food and affection.
Tough love seems to work. An elephant learns fast and soon attaches itself to the mahout, like a child to a nanny. It also masters as many as 60 vocal commands and uses its own repertoire of snorts and squeals to answer back. This is an intimate relationship, as close as man and dog. An elephant's loyalty is legendary. Once he wins its trust, a mahout has a friend for life. The elephant's chief reward is food, lots of it. After breakfast, it heads off for a bath and a scrub. On the face of it, these temple elephants look like a different species from their wild cousins. Scratch the surface though, and there's a wild animal lurking underneath. Astonishingly, at least 7 of these elephants have deliberately crushed their mahouts. And it's not just temple elephants that flip. Somewhere in India every month, a captive or working elephant will probably kill its master.
One of the most stressful and dangerous jobs in the world is being a mahout. Definitely. That's why mahouts drink so much. Until their elephant is chained up, they've got to be on their alert all day long.
After 27 years working as a mahout, I've been lucky to escape with my life at least 6 times after an elephant has turned nasty.
This man, though, may be the luckiest mahout in India. Quite how he survived his elephant ordeal beggars belief.
In 1983, I was working for a private owner, and his elephant attacked my friend. I tried to save him, but the elephant suddenly turned on me. First he rammed a tusk through my shoulder here. Then he gored me through my back and out through my guts. I was stuck on the tusk and the elephant was carrying me along. Then the elephant put me down and kicked me around a bit. It played with me like a cat with a mouse for more than 15 minutes. Finally, it ripped my shirt off. And while it was busy tearing it up, someone was able to rescue me. I was barely conscious, but I remember my stomach was hanging out. You can never completely trust an elephant. You must always take care and read the signs, because it can kill you in an instant.
What makes an elephant turn nasty? And can the domestic violence of these pampered kings shed light on the attacks of wild elephants? Despite their lavish lifestyle, these elephants are really no different from their jungle cousins, the ones that are killing farmers every week. Because even after 4,000 years, there's no such thing as a truly domesticated elephant. Every captive is caught from the wild, or at least descended from a wild bull within a few generations. They've still got every ounce of their natural aggression because it's never been bred out of them, the way it has in cows and dogs. Yet something has to trigger the aggression. Animals don't tend to attack without a reason. What's the spark that lights the fuse?
He's also very calm.
No two elephants have the same personality. They differ, just like people. As a rule, they're patient and obliging, but experienced mahouts know that any elephant can lose its temper. Rub it up the wrong way, or push it too hard, and it'll snap.
Bite, 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 bite.
What bite?
See? Okay. A slap around the face of an elephant is not exactly like a slap around the face of a human being. It's 100,000 muscles powered by 5 tons. And that can do a lot of damage. That could just be a warning sometimes. But when it wants to, there's not a lot you can do, and they can move very, very quickly.
Anyone can have a bad day, but when an elephant gets really angry, all hell breaks loose. Incredibly, camcorders were running when a circus elephant in Hawaii lost her temper. She first crushed her trainer, then headed for the exit. It's not clear what sparked her rampage. She may just have been startled, though others believe she was reacting against cruel treatment. Perhaps she just had enough of humans. She stormed through the streets of Honolulu for nearly half an hour, apparently immune to the 80-odd rounds fired by police. In the end, it took 3 bullets from a powerful counter-sniper rifle and a lethal injection to put the elephant out of her misery. Elephants react to humans with surprising intensity. Believe it or not, 5-ton slaps and lethal headbutts are at the mild end of the scale. Elephant vet Dr. Chiran has seen much worse. He's literally scooped up the pieces.
Sometimes you find the way in which a mouth is being torn into pieces. You know, one instance, an elephant has pulled out one piece and pulled it into, just like, King Solomon wanted to cut a child into 2. And there have been instances where he had to get a mahout's dead body in a basket, mashed into pulp. Such a terrible instance happened. And hardly is an accident.
It'll either smash the head straight in like that, like a fruit, or if it's really angry, they dismember. They pull the arms off, they pull the legs off, they pull the head off, and that is real rage.
Like any very close relationship, when it goes wrong, it gets vicious.
Elephant-human bond is a lifelong bond, strong bond, and if it falls apart, it becomes a real problem. So here is an extreme machine with extreme emotions. The brake doesn't work often, the clutch doesn't work often, so you should know where it fails, when it works.
The lesson from captive elephants is that these animals harbour very strong feelings and can lose their temper for the same reasons we do. Does this explain why some wild elephants attack? Dalma Forest in North India is home to what may be India's angriest wild elephant. He's already thought to have killed 30 people.
I was driving home from the festival at around midnight when I saw the notorious elephant Gadru ahead of me on the road. This elephant Gadru comes out of the jungle into the villages to attack people and smash their properties. Everyone knows about him. He is very dangerous. Gadru has killed many people. He is so clever, he knocks on people's doors And when they open up, he's waiting there to grab them with his trunk and kill them. So when I saw it was Gadru, I feared for my life and prayed to Lord Ganesh, please save me.
गाड़ी के पास आया तो चिंघाड़ा
He roared and started to attack the car. That's when I opened the door and bolted into the paddy fields.
Instead of chasing Santosh, Gadru laid into the car.
I came later and saw the car was wrecked. But at least Ganesh saved me. I'm just happy to be alive.
Does a wild elephant like Gadru attack people deliberately? Out of anger? We don't know, but there is another possibility. And it's something that only happens to male elephants. Periodically, adult males are gripped by a kind of insanity that's unlike anything in other animals. They experience a massive hormone surge that makes them much more aggressive than normal. It's a temporary madness called musth.
I believe that elephants in musth don't know what they're doing. The pain is so great, what they're going through, they go literally mad. The word must means mad.
You can tell when a male's in musth by the oily fluid oozing from glands on the side of his head. These musth glands swell to the size of soccer balls and press against the backs of the elephant's eyes.
It's like a giant toothache, and so elephants will do a couple of things to help relieve pressure. Like you might take a cold compress and hold it up against your jawbone. Elephants will take their tusks and they'll tusk mud. If they push with their tusks, then the pressure around the temporal gland will change a little bit.
Dr. Betts Rasmussen has spent a career studying this unique elephant phenomenon, from the weird behaviour right down to the chemistry.
Their body temperature seems to go up, they seem to get hotter. In many cases will flap their ears more frequently. They will tend to cool themselves off more with water.
Musth is the elephant equivalent of a bear with a sore head. The musth fluid itself may increase his irritation.
If you look at the flow of the secretion coming down from the temporal glands, it goes into the mouth. I was with an old mahout who'd been working with these elephants for about 40 years. He got a stick, and he got a bit of the musth. And before I knew it, he slapped it into my mouth. And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted, and I threw up.
As musth progresses, the elephant's brain is flooded with chemicals called ketones that literally alter its state of mind.
They will also tend to perhaps be in almost a spacey or sleepy state. They certainly are doing more repetitive behaviors.
Finally, there's the surge of male hormones.
Testosterone levels will elevate and they will stay fairly high and fairly constantly high. It accentuates the male elephant's ability to be aggressive. There's something about musth that essentially removes your power to reason correctly.
An elephant in musth no longer respects its mahout. Instead, it has a drive to dominate everyone in sight, elephant or human.
Elephants in musths regard humans as kind of an intruder. And so they many times will want to get rid of, of a human who happens to be around when they're in musth. So from a human perspective, I would consider a musth male elephant perhaps the most dangerous mammal in the world.
The number one rule when an elephant comes into musth is never to walk in front of it. If we are feeding it, we always keep to the side or the back. As the musth develops, we chain it up, because during this period, he is completely unmanageable.
It seems like a rubber hose when they're like that, because they're mad, they're whacking it around all the time. But you know, when they hit you, sayonara.
Never mind humans. No elephant in its right mind wants to get close to a male in this state. It just isn't worth the risk. In the wild, musth serves to boost the male into a dominant position, allowing him to monopolize any females who are ready to mate. It normally lasts only a few weeks, but among these well-nourished temple elephants, musth can drag on for months. An experienced mahout can detect when his elephant is coming into musth and chain it up. Danger comes for inexperienced mahouts who fail to read the signs. Spring in southern India is festival season. Elephants that aren't in musth are safe to go on parade and earn good money for their masters. The problem is that musth develops differently in each elephant, and it's not always easy to read the signs. This is the hottest, stickiest time of the year, and musth only makes an elephant hotter. It can't cool off with a bath or head for the shade. Instead, it has to stand still for hours on end, hemmed in by a noisy crowd. There are no females to mate, just a growing sense of frustration and discomfort. Unknown to the mahout, his elephant may be coming into musth. Its testosterone levels may be starting to surge. It's like a 5-ton time bomb. The most violent attacks by captive elephants occur when they're in musth. Maybe they don't know what they're doing. It's manslaughter with diminished responsibility. But is this why wild elephants are attacking villagers? Is it because they're in musth? Is this what drives them to run down farmers in places like West Bengal? Musth does make a male elephant more aggressive, yet the latest attacks look like cold, premeditated acts of violence. It's as if the elephants have suffered enough and now see humans as their enemy. It used to be about food. Now it looks like they're trying to kill people. So far, it's just a handful of solitary tuskers who are making these raids, but they're giving the villagers sleepless nights.
An elephant is so silent, they can creep up on you, you can never even hear them. And these villages, I mean, they are terrified, they can't sleep because these huge animals are coming in like silent assassins. You can never hear them, you can never see them before it's too late. Squad are in the front line and they're watching the movements and the habits of those elephants, so they know, and they're dealing with these cases. And they're saying basically these elephants are coming in now and taking people. And I can well believe that because in a way elephants, I think, have the same emotions as us, like all the emotions, love, jealousy, rage, and they can be vengeful. I mean, I don't believe this is just about food. They're angry.
As the elephants up the ante, the war is escalating. For the wildlife squads in West Bengal, it's now a battle on two fronts.
Oh God. Jesus, this is not good. Oh God, this is not good at all. How they're going to calm this down, I don't know. But you can see the agitation is unbelievable. I mean, obviously an elephant has come in here or somebody's being killed. And this is what the Mammal squad are facing all the time. And this is really serious. These people get incredibly volatile. Sometimes the Mammal squad are actually beaten up.
Outnumbered, the Mammal squad are suddenly in real danger. The villagers look ready to lynch them. In the crush, Mammal squad officers try to find out why everyone's so worked up.
Probably the elephants either come in here or basically there's knocked a house down or somebody's being killed. The worst scenarios if somebody's being killed. And this is what they face all the time. In fact, they often say that people are much more dangerous than the elephants.
It's not just about food anymore. Villagers feel like they've become the targets.
They're terrified because these loners come in all the time and they just don't hear them. And the elephants, as far as these people, the villagers, are concerned, belong to the government.
Caught between the elephants and the villagers, the wildlife squads face a thankless task.
They're calming them down a bit now. They're saying, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? When we ask for you, they're your elephants. They're your elephants. I've been covering this for 3 years now, 4 years, and every year it gets worse.
Eventually the crowd calms down and Mark goes in to find out what's happened.
So basically, this is a mattress we've got here. What happened here?
एक हाथी आया था उधर से आई के यहाँ पर 2 आदमी सोता था वो तोड़ा है वो हाथी आदमी को खोजता है
So there was no food in here, no food at all. So basically, this elephant, you're saying, was looking for people, and there were people sleeping in there.
वो बड़ा बड़ा दांत है वो ये सब मरता है इसे
That's incredible because basically, Natai's been working for the Mars Corps for 25 years, and this is a new syndrome which has been happening more and more. These lone elephants are coming in now, and they're actually not looking for food, but actually searching for people, pulling people out. So it seems they are turning much more aggressive. And this is the mattress and the bed here that people were sleeping on there. So he's actually pulled the mattress out. People were sleeping inside there.
हाँ वो आदमी सोया हुआ है टांग लेता है इसे
There's punched holes up in there.
हाँ दांत से मरा है वो दांत से मरा है
They are turning into killers.
Elephants are perhaps the only animals on Earth that have the intelligence as well as the power to fight back against humans. But as Ganesh casts a dark shadow over people's lives, their faith may start to wear thin.
My husband was the breadwinner of our family. He was the one who brought the firewood to cook our food with. My children are young. Who is going to do all this? All I want is for the government to give us enough aid so that we can get back on our feet. As far as the elephants go, they will still be around. What can I say?
While some village elders remain patient about elephants, others have had enough.
I think the elder generation revere Ganesh. Those traditions are still with the elder people, even with people that have had family members killed and things like that. They'll say it's not Ganesh's fault. You know, it's the people who, the government basically, who should be looking after the elephants. It's their fault. Now the younger generation is saying, we don't basically want any of that. These elephants are coming in, they're trashing our houses, they're killing all of us. We'll take them on. And that's what's happening. They're being poisoned, they're being shot at, and I think that's going to get worse and worse and worse. They'll take the whole thing into their own hands, and I think it's going to be terrifying. The war is going to escalate. It's not going to stop.
Shand estimates that 70% of elephants in West Bengal now have gunshot wounds. Whole families are being poisoned. The Asian elephant is an endangered species, and India is down to its last 22,000. What hope is there for an animal that needs so much space in a country of 1 billion people? Is there any doubt who'll win in the end? Yet every day, devotees across India light candles for Ganesh, praying that he'll look after them. Unaware, perhaps, that behind the idol there is a real animal, one that has served us for thousands of years and which has needs of its own. For everyone's sake, the relationship between man and elephant needs to change. And Ganesh, after all, is the god of new beginnings.